Hello and welcome back to the Movie Memo Recaps. Today we are going to recap a 2006 movie titled Lucky Number 11. Please be advised that there will be spoilers ahead. In the opening scene, an unknown man kills a bookie as he prepares to enter his car. The killer then snatches the ledger and flees. In the meantime, another murderer enters an office and stabs two guards in the throat. Shortly after, the assassin murders the bookie by throwing a baseball into his face. The killer snatches the ledger and flees. The scene switches to a train station, where Smith speaks with Nick, a young man. Smith informs him about a man named Max and a criminal organization involved in horse racing. Horse racing was popular 2 decades ago, and Max heard whispers that one horse would undoubtedly win. Max obtained funds from the mob to wager on the anticipated winner. Max took his son with him but instructed him to wait in the car. The kid was upset to learn that his father was gambling, but Max explained that the money he was about to win would pay for his college education. Max, unaware of the horse race's fixed nature, foolishly believed the reports. In reality, the horse on which he placed his bet fell during the race. The betting clerk had warned Max that not settling debts with the mob was exceedingly risky, but this did not deter him. In fact, Max returned to his car in the parking lot after the race, only to find it gone. The Mafia had also taken Max's son hostage. The Mafia murdered Max and his wife after subjecting them to extensive torture. Smith immediately rises from his wheelchair and breaks Nick's neck. Then he moves his body to a truck. The scene moves to a young man named Slevin Calavera. As he wipes the shaving foam off his face, he hears a loud knock at the front door. He approaches the door in only a towel, and when he opens it, a young woman named Lindsay enters. She is initially confused because she anticipated seeing her buddy Nick, the house's owner. Slevin reveals that he is a friend to Nick. Lindsay asks what happened to his nose, and he tells her the story. After losing his job, he went to his girlfriend's house and discovered she was cheating with another man. Following that, Slevin headed to New York to meet his close friend Nick. After getting off the plane, Slevin was on the phone with Nick when a man approached him and asked for a cigarette. Slevin informed him he didn't smoke, but the stranger demanded his money and struck him in the face. Lindsay wonders that the robber did not take Slevin's luggage or his gorgeous watch. Lindsay's astuteness and attention to detail captivate Slevin at this moment. The woman then inquires about Nick's location, to which Slevin replies that he has not yet arrived. Nick had set up a meeting with Slevin at the flat, but he had yet to show. Slevin explains that he gained entry through the unlocked door. The phone rings, and Slevin answers, but the caller hangs up. Lindsay quickly redials the number, then informs Slevin that she dialed the incorrect number and that the call originated at the Hotel Cheval. She then says that they need to find out who called. She makes another call and connects with the same hotel. Lindsay believes Nick is in danger, and that the anonymous hotel caller may have provided a clue. Lindsay is having a wonderful time playing detective, but she needs to leave the flat because she has work. After she goes, the doorbell rings again. Slevin rushes to open the door, believing Lindsay has returned, but 2 henchmen working for someone known as the boss appear. The 2 henchmen act aggressively, believing that Slevin is Nick. Slevin claims that they mistook him, but his stolen wallet precludes him from proving his claim. However, the henchmen receive an order to kidnap the apartment's resident. They carry out the order, striking Slevin in the face before seizing him and escorting him to the car. The boss lives in a secure building's penthouse and is the supposed leader of a major criminal organization. When the 2 start talking and play a cat-and-mouse language game, Slevin tries to appear intelligent. Eventually, the boss admits that Nick owes him $96,000. Slevin does not have this much, but the boss makes him an offer. The boss adored his son, but a competing crook named Rabbi killed him. As a result, Slevin must do the boss a favor and assassinate the rabbi's son. His son is known as the fairy due to his homosexuality. Slevin has no choice but to obey, and he departs with the henchmen. When the boss begins chatting with Smith, a hitman, we learn the truth. In reality, the boss hired Smith to kill the fairy, but they needed Slevin to take full responsibility. As Slevin exits the premises, 2 men disguised as plumbers photograph him. At that point, one of the men instructed the other to contact a detective named Brykowski. Slevin returns to Nick's apartment. Lindsay arrives with the purpose of going with him to the Cheval Hotel to pursue the investigation. Lindsay knows a hotel employee who can determine who called the flat. Lindsay's phone rings in her flat, and she hurries to answer it, thinking it's a hotel staff. Slevin hears a knock on the door, and as he answers it, 2 Hasidic-looking men confront him and inform him that Shlomo wants to see him. Despite Slevin's attempts to explain that he knows no one named Shlomo, they punch him in the stomach again and bring him to the rabbi's office. In the car, Slevin notes that the boss's and rabbi's buildings are adjacent. The henchman claims that the rabbi and the boss were previously partners and even close friends, but one day they turned on each other and attempted to murder each other, and neither has left the building since. Later, Slevin meets the rabbi and two engage in a cat and mouse chat. Finally, the rabbi informs Slevin that he owes him $33,000. Slevin attempts again to explain that he has the wrong person and that Nick is simply a friend. However, the rabbi gives him 48 hours to acquire the $33,000 using any means necessary. When the rabbi leads Slevin away, we discover Smith's double dealing and complicity with the rabbi. The rabbi informs Smith that he has placed half of the planned amount in his bank account and will make the final payment following the boss's death. Rabbi asks the henchman why he needs Slevin, and the henchman simply states that he and the young man have unfinished business. It becomes evident that neither the employer nor rabbi require Slevin, but it has something to do with Smith. Indeed, the rabbi asserts his ability to detect dishonesty, and the young man in question is not Nick. Smith walks away, smiling and says he knows. Later, Slevin returns to the flat and encounters Lindsay again. She claims she went to the hotel, where they received the call. Her acquaintance, a hotel employee, informed her that the caller was actually Smith. Lindsay was able to capture a photo of him in the elevator, but Slevin claims he does not recognize him. Slevin tells her what occurred to him that day. Later, Slevin meets with the boss and informs him that he agrees to assassinate the fairy. Slevin requests a week to accomplish the assignment, but the boss informs him that he has 3 days. The boss then invites him to play chess. If Slevin wins, he will have a week to kill the fairy, otherwise, the contract will remain for 3 days. The boss informs Slevin during the game that the fairy is under the protection of very experienced bodyguards who are former war veterans. In addition, the fairy wears an amulet around his neck. Pressing the amulet activates the security alert, causing guards to arrive at his apartment in 5 seconds. Meanwhile, we learn that Smith was complicit in the plot and is liable for Nick's debt claim. However, Smith plans to kill Slevin and the fairy simultaneously to make it look like they committed suicide. In the end, Slevin loses the chess match and has 3 days to do the assignment. When he exits the building, the team of detectives in the minivan spots him. When they see Slevin, whom they don't know, they become confused in their search for Nick. In addition, the investigators discover that a hitman known as Goodcott has returned to town, so they must also keep an eye out for him. When Slevin arrives home, Lindsay says that she worked at the morgue and discovered the body of the rabbi's bookie. While Lindsay was at work, Detective Brykowski was there, and he revealed that he frequently gambled with the dead bookie. Lindsay believes Nick escaped and framed Slevin. According to her, Nick paid a stranger on the street to steal the wallet with Slevin's paperwork. Lindsay claims Nick killed the two bookies because they were the only ones who recognized his face. Lindsay then tells him she needs to return to work and offers him to join her for dinner. That night, while they dine at the restaurant, Slevin spots the fairy. When the fairy goes to the bathroom, Slevin follows him. Detective Brykowski pursues him, but Slevin secures the door. After dinner, Slevin tells Lindsay that he claimed to be homosexual and scheduled a date with the fairy. In addition, Slevin admits that Brykowski accosted him in the bathroom. The investigator informs Slevin that he had intended to catch Nick, but he has disappeared. Nonetheless, Brykowski is confident that there is a link between Rabbi, Smith, and Slevin. Later, Lindsay and Slevin come home and spend the night together. The next day, detectives track down Slevin after he leaves the house. The police release Slevin after he provides his full name, as they find no evidence against him. Later, the boss's henchman gets Slevin a suit and drives him to his meeting with the fairy. Outside, we can see that the rabbi's henchmen were dead in their car. Shortly after, Slevin enters the fairy's apartment and shoots him in the stomach. At that point, Smith arrives and shoots the fairy in the head instead of Slevin. Slevin is not surprised, suggesting that the two are working together. Slevin goes to the car and pulls a dead body from the trunk. In the process, Smith presses the fairy amulet. Smith murders the bodyguards with 2 silenced pistols as they burst through the wall. Later, Slevin drags the man's corpse and places it next to the fairy. Here, we discover that the dead man is Nick, the man Smith attacked at the start of the film. Smith and Slevin then set the apartment on fire. Later, after killing the boss's henchman in the elevator, Smith and Slevin pay him a visit. Slevin travels to the rabbi to pay his $33,000 debt. When the rabbi opens the briefcase, he finds it empty, and Slevin smacks him hard on the head, knocking him out. In the following scene, the boss and the rabbi awaken chained together. Slevin appears and reveals the huge twist. The boss and the rabbi were the mobsters responsible for Max's murder, while Slevin is Max's son. The story reveals Smith as the hitman who, faced with a moral dilemma, took in and raised little Henry. Slevin says he and Smith killed the bookies and stole the ledgers. They executed Nick and stole his identity after realizing that he owed money to both the boss and the rabbi. Later, in retaliation, Slevin killed the boss's son to persuade him to pay Smith to murder the rabbi's son. Smith received the boss's contract to assassinate the fairy, and he persuaded the rabbi to defend him on the condition that they both repay Nick's debts, giving Slevin and Smith unrestricted access to the well-protected gang. After disclosing his identity, Slevin suffocates Rabbi and the boss by taping plastic bags over their heads, killing them in the same way they murdered his father. Then we find out that Smith killed Lindsay because she took photos of him. While Brykowski is hunting for Slevin, he gets a phone call from his boss and learns the meaning of the pseudonym Slevin Kulevra. Lucky number Slevin was the horse his father had bet on, and Kulevra is Hebrew for bad dog, mirroring Goodcott's name. It is revealed that Brykowski murdered Slevin's mother to pay his own gambling debts 20 years ago. As he hears this story, Brykowski resigns himself to his fate as Slevin, showing rage for the first time, appears in Brykowski's backseat and shoots him, finishing his masterpiece of revenge. Sometime later at the bus terminal, Slevin is met by Lindsay, and it is revealed that Goodcott informed Slevin he had to murder Lindsay because she had a picture of him. It's also revealed around the same time that Slevin explained his true identity to Lindsay and helped fake her death. When Goodcott appears, aware of the trickery, Slevin explains he had to save Lindsay and did not think Goodcott would understand. Since Goodcott had saved Slevin as a boy, he states that he understands and agrees to leave Lindsay alone. Goodcott gives Slevin back his father's old watch and then disappears into the crowd. Thanks for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more of these recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.